and most of all, being proud of our country and unapologetic for our history. We need to honor our past and our shared values. We need to live out the dream that started with John A. Macdonald. Yes, I said John A. Macdonald.
Oh, Pierre. Your obsession with John A. Macdonald is starting to feel less like admiration and more like a full-blown crush. I imagine you have a poster of him above your bed and you're just waiting for the Scotch tape to give out so he can have his wanton way with you. But if you're going to worship a dead man, the least you could do is actually know something about him. And let's be clear, strength, vision, and greatness are not the words that come to mind for a man who used starvation as policy, tore Indigenous children from their families, and shoved them into so-called schools where they were repeatedly raped, beaten, and ultimately murdered. So maybe cool it with the John A. bullshit because it's making you look like a racist piece of shit. And if you're trying to distance yourself from the Trump comparisons, that is certainly not helping your cause. John A. Macdonald wasn't some complicated hero. He was the architect of genocide. If he did today what he did back then, he'd be hauled in front of a global tribunal and charged with crimes against humanity. That's his legacy. His statue should be melted down and turned into a plaque that says never again and placed alongside a list of all the names of all the people his policies destroyed. You stand there with that smug little smile on your face, proudly overlooking his atrocities like they're just some inconvenient footnote. You wrap yourself in his legacy like it's a patriotic cape. You say we should stop tearing down our symbols and uphold our heroes. Well, I'm sorry, but if your so-called hero built an entire system of forced assimilation and racial control, defending him isn't patriotism. It's straight-up historical gaslighting. And let's not pretend that Canada's history isn't loaded with government-approved oppression. Black Canadians were segregated, redlined, and denied jobs like it was government policy because, newsflash, it was. Africville was demolished in the 60s, and no one even bothered to make an apology until decades later. Japanese Canadians were thrown into internment camps, had everything stolen, and were told to move on after the war like it was no big deal. We treated Chinese Canadians like slaves, forcing them to build the railroad and then slapping them with a head tax to remind them that they'd never really be part of our society. The 2S LGBTQ+ community was treated like a national security threat, surveilled, fired, humiliated by the same institutions that now performatively wave pride flags every June. And now you have the nerve to stand at your podium whining about wokeness? Like it's some kind of existential threat? No. What you really mean is stop reminding me that the true North strong and free was actually built on the bodies of marginalized people. Stop making me uncomfortable with facts. Stop ruining the colonial fan fiction you've built your entire platform on. Let's be clear. Wokeness isn't a dirty word. It means paying attention. It means caring. It means refusing to sweep genocide, racism, and state-sanctioned violence under the maple leaf rug just to make white folks feel better about their history textbooks. If that rattles you, Pierre, then maybe the problem isn't wokeness. It's cowardice. True patriotism isn't denial and slogans. It's facing the ugliest parts of our history and saying, all right, we admit it. We fucked up. We can do better. We're sorry. A country that can't be apologetic for its dark history isn't strong. It's brittle. Canada doesn't move forward on nostalgia and denial. It moves forward with honesty, courage, and yes, even wokeness has its place. That means embracing our differences, owning our history, and actually creating equity for the communities this country has ignored or outright abused for generations. And if you are unable or unwilling to do that, get the fuck out of the way so someone else can.